This was hours after it happened again. Broken windows, more this time. Norm Mosselson was among the first to get here.
What went through your mind when you saw that?
Well, shock, total shock, right? Dismay, upset, emotional.
This is the second time in a month the synagogue has been targeted.
We have a beautiful, beautiful facility.
Detectives Kieran Bisla and Pat Alberga are with Toronto Police's Hate Crimes Unit. The unit has responded to more than 1,000 hate-related calls since the Israel-Hamas war started on October 7th.
This is new.
This is new, correct?
Yes.
The previous incident happened about a month ago, right? On the 19th of April?
Yes.
We got exclusive access with the unit to see what they're up against. Today, it's an attack on a synagogue, but there have been attacks on mosques too.
It does make me feel upset. It makes me feel like it's not the society I want my children to grow up in.
Incidents that have left both communities shaken.
Are you assuming it's a hammer or obviously a tool that was used to break the glass?
No, we saw from the first video.
Okay.
In April.
Right.
No, you could see clearly.
That it's a hammer.
The Hate Crimes Unit has expanded from a team of 6 to 32 since the start of the war and have laid more than 240 hate-related charges to date.
At this point, we're looking at it as a suspected hate-motivated criminal offense.
And based on the evidence we have here, this is a mischief. It's vandalism to a synagogue, so it is a criminal offense. Whether the incident is motivated by hate or bias prejudice, that is part of our investigation.
Many of the reports involve property damage, especially at places of worship, sanctuaries that don't feel like that anymore.
It's terrible, and it's clear to see what the impact is here, just not only on the synagogue itself, but the community as well.
In this case, there is video, but police only release this still image from it. The vandalism happened in the middle of the night. Officers are hoping neighbors can also provide more footage from home security cameras.
What stands out for you in terms of potential clues on videos like that?
Well, the clothing, obviously, that the suspect's wearing, how he or she obviously arrived at the crime scene.
Police say so far, more than half of reported hate crimes have targeted Jewish people. Rabbi Joe Konofsky, facing this for a second time, dreads what can happen next.
So it'll be somebody else's windows, and then it'll be someone else, and then it'll be someone accosted on the street, then it'll be someone's house, then it'll be people. And each level that ratchets up to, well, maybe this is as bad as it gets. And maybe it is, but maybe it isn't.
The alarming increase of hate crimes in our city, which prides itself on its diversity, is unprecedented.
For months, Toronto has been gripped by the tension of a devastating and divisive conflict. There have been 2 hate-related arrests linked to protests. Most reports involve graffiti, property damage, assaults, and racial slurs. There have also been shots fired at a Jewish school and a fire set at a Jewish-owned business, and worshippers have been targeted at multiple mosques. Police won't speculate on who's behind the incidents against both communities.
So there is no actual hate crime, right? It's a criminal offense that's motivated by hate, bias, or prejudice.
At a recent training session for new 911 dispatchers, Bisla says these investigations are complex.
Can anybody give me an example of a hate symbol?
Swastika.
Okay. So when we're talking about swastikas, context is important because a swastika displayed out front of a Hindu temple is different than a swastika spray painted on a synagogue.
Bisla says 2 things have to be present to be considered a hate crime: a criminal offense and proof of hate. It's why reports of offensive language don't always meet the bar, she says, because it's not illegal to swear.
Hate incidents can have a very significant impact on communities, especially if it's a slur that's being shouted out. Absolutely, it can. But when we're investigating these types of incidents, looking at the criminal act, the criminality in these situations is key.
I think people are, rethinking their feeling of safety and security. So we try to speak up when anyone's harmed or at risk or in danger. When we start to sweep them under the rug or make excuses for them or turn the other way, we'll be in trouble.
During our interview, an unannounced visit, but not an unusual one.
Well,
so here we are.
The good news is they find a lot of these people. I'm going to speak to hate crime next.
Okay.
And see if they have anything.
The alarming rise in hate crimes has led to a permanent police presence in Toronto's predominantly Jewish area. Inspector Jack Gurr runs Project Resolute, set up shortly after October 7th to help targeted communities feel safer.
How are we doing? Welcome.
Good, thank you.
People are nervous on all sides and people don't want things to escalate.
Anti-Semitism is reported more often, but the statistics don't tell the whole story. Police say Islamophobic incidents are significantly underreported, including ones against women whose religious wear makes them targets.
So this visit now, you'll just pop in on any given day to say hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just come in, we say hello, talk to some of the worshipers, and hello, how are you? Thank you for having us. Yeah.
We caught up with Gurr while he visited a mosque in Toronto's Rexdale neighborhood.
So we'll come in, we'll say hello to everybody, just ask if there's any concerns that they might have, how they're feeling, that kind of thing.
The visits are designed to break through the reticence to report.
Thank you.
Gurr says it often comes from mistrust and skepticism that police work for the Muslim community too.
Hi, how are you? Just doing a visit. Nice to see you. How are you feeling? Everything good? The goal is that the community says, yeah, the police come around all the time. We're building relationships. We're creating this sense of normalcy that the police are working together with the community, and it breaks down walls.
On the way to his next visit, Gurr acknowledges breaking down those walls is taking time.
There's still an element of the unknown. You know, if I report something, is anyone going to care? Is anyone going to do anything? Are they going to make me feel uncomfortable?
At the Toronto Islamic Centre, faith in police hasn't always been a given. Last November, during early morning prayers, police say a man kicked the door of the mosque, threw a rock at worshippers, and swung a bike chain at them. Police allege the same man was involved in 2 other hate-suspected attacks against a cab driver and a woman wearing a hijab. The accused is now facing more than a dozen charges. Shafni Nalir was there that morning. Nalir is the assistant imam.
I remember right here, he spat in this direction.
He spat at you?
He spat at us, yeah. He kicked one of the imams as he's biking, like, it was odd. It's hard to understand why someone hates you when you don't even know where it's coming from.
Still, Nalir says there was some hesitation to report the incident.
For a very long time, there is, I think, this feeling of us being a guest to this country. And so that guest mentality, I think, has to do with not being a nuisance. I remember even when the attack did happen, someone mentioned, it's okay, don't call. It's as if we have to wait for someone to actually be harmed in order for us to call, when other communities aren't thinking like that. You know, so I think it's
something you want to change.
Something we are changing. For example, you see police around you, the more normalized it becomes, it's not as scary.
You want a sticker? There you go.
Nalir hopes that encourages his community to speak out more, especially the younger generation. On this night, a special thanks to community officers. It's a recognition of police and of their own voice too, but one that's become more wary than ever.
Now I can no longer focus on a person for too long. I must look at the entrance.
You're looking at the door.
It's just, I have to. Like, it's almost become second nature. I read the faces that come in. Funny enough, actually in other mosques I can pray peacefully.
Because you don't have that sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
Police say hate crimes often have a lasting psychological impact.
Gonna go up these stairs.
Okay.
Detective Alberga from the Hate Crimes Unit investigated the attack on the Toronto Islamic Center.
You're not usually based out of any division, right?
No, that's correct. We're not.
For security reasons, the unit works in an undisclosed location. So we met Alberga at a neighborhood station a week after the synagogue attack to see how that investigation is going.
How do you go about identifying a suspect who's disguised?
Whose face is covered up? Again, we have dedicated resources available, whether it be facial recognition. We put bulletins out internally. Other officers that may have encountered the suspect previously can assist to help identify the individual. Sometimes they wear similar clothing.
And is it also trying to figure out whether or not this individual was the same person who vandalized the synagogue
Yeah,
about
that's
a month
all
ago?
part and parcel with the investigation, correct.
Hate crime investigations can take time. This is about addressing fear that persists.
Police command posts make the rounds at mosques across the city every week, especially on Fridays, when larger crowds tend to gather for prayers. But while this police presence is a new reality, communities are also doing what they can to protect themselves. It's why what you're about to see is happening more and more often.
All right, so this is a knife, right? I'm gonna stab this brother multiple times, right?
A volunteer is stabbed in an exercise, practice in case this becomes real. Eunice Iman is part of the Salam Project.
If everybody works together, you can stop that person easily.
The group offers security training to mosques and community groups, which include evacuation drills.
I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, you have to get out of this place as fast as you can, as if it's an emergency, okay? Okay, ready? I'm starting now. Get out of here. Run.
Basically, you're teaching people to be on guard for a threat, right?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the fact that that need has gone up?
There's this very solemn mood about our team right now. We have to focus on, okay, how do we help as much as we can? This is a horrible situation. We got to do what we can with the limited tools that we have.
Iman says demand for these sessions has doubled since October 7th.
Nice, good, mashallah, good, they're learning. Sister Abi, I want you to gather everybody and let's go to the front.
Rabia Shahid runs Sacred Hand, a charity based in Mississauga. She's asked Iman to do multiple training sessions for all her volunteers.
The most important thing that, we are more vigilant on our surrounding.
There's also more security, but a sense of safety doesn't always follow.
How do you feel about the fact that the community in general has been targeted since October 7th?
What I feel that, the hate has been risen, like really close to October 7th when, the things was happening. My 10 years old is asking me, Mama, is it safe to stay in Canada? And we don't want our children to, live with that fear.
Fear is driving safety measures elsewhere as well.
I know some synagogues in the city have heightened their security, their vigilance, even their training, some getting live shooter training, right? Is that something that you guys have done here?
We're talking about it. We have a security committee as part of our board. All those things are on the drawing board as we speak.
A week after the attack at the synagogue, we were invited to a service to welcome Shabbat. They were prayers for healing and peace.
We've all invested far too much of ourselves, our hearts, and our souls in this community to be intimidated. When we are together and connected with each other and who we really are, no force in the world can defeat us or discourage us.
Broken windows, they can be replaced, but the plan is to keep some of the shards and use them to make a mezuzah, a doorpost that serves as a constant reminder of faith. There's no doubt it is demoralizing and draining to be on constant guard. But there is strength in community, a place where hate can't win.
Ioanna, we heard in your story that technically there's no such thing as a hate crime, but rather that police have to prove a crime was motivated by hate. What role does evidence of hate play when a case goes to court?
If hate is proven to be a motivation behind a crime, it is a relevant aggravating factor, and that can lead to an increased sentence. But police say it can be very difficult to get that evidence when officers are speaking to victims of crime, because initially people are often scared or humiliated by what's happened to them. So that is a challenge that police say they face continuously.
So what are police saying then about who is behind these hate crimes?
Well, we've asked several times, and police aren't saying much at all about who is committing these crimes, if there's a particular profile, or if these people have any particular religious, ethnic, or political affiliations. What is clear is that in these investigations, police have to find evidence of a crime and find evidence that a suspect was motivated by hate, bias, or prejudice.
All right, Ioanna Roumeliotis, thank you.
Thank you.